Hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome to Conversations with the Business Next Door. I'm Christopher Doyle. I'm the country manager for Nextdoor Canada. We are the essential neighborhood app, and our mission is to ensure everyone has a neighborhood that they can rely on. So more than ever, of course, this means local businesses. They're vital, as we know, to our neighborhoods, to our communities, now and always, and we want to help. So, I was thinking about today, that it's sad that we can't gather in person. We would have gathered in person normally for this, and it's sad we can't do that. But it is really exciting, and we're really grateful that we're able to all join here today virtually. So, along with our amazing partners at Square Canada, I want to give a huge shout out to and thank you. We put together this 4-part conversation series. So, we're going to give insights into the challenges and opportunities that are facing small businesses today. So, over the next couple weeks, you're going to hear through this series, you're going to hear from business owners, you're going to hear from experts, and we're going to look to facilitate shared learnings and these shared experience for everyone. So that all starts today with this amazing first panel. So this is a first panel in our series, The Power of Local. So to kick it off, I'm really excited to introduce our amazing CEO of Nextdoor, Sarah Friar, as today's moderator. So Sarah, it's over to you.
Christopher, thank you so much. And as you said, one of the things that kind of breaks my heart most about COVID-19, I mean, clearly there's terrible things going on in the world, and that's a good moment of my husband trying to call me, is the inability to go travel and the inability to actually go feel tangibly that power of local. There's nothing that gladdens my heart more than being in a local neighborhood, and in particular, getting to visit the local businesses. You all are the life soul of a community. You're what stitches it together, the place you go to grab that coffee in the morning to get going, or that wonderful moment of discovery when you stop by someone like Jenn's place of work and you find absolutely beautiful glass blowing being handcrafted. So with that, I'm going to actually go around the hoop a little here and let everyone begin to introduce themselves. We have a phenomenal panel for you today, and I'm actually going to start with Jenn Wanless Craig, who's the owner of Artech Studios, based in Tory Hill, Ontario. Jenn, tell us a little bit about you and tell us a little bit about your business, and in particular, maybe just take a moment to say what's happened to you this year, right? COVID has brought many new things to businesses. What's been the biggest impact?
Well, hi, my name is Jenn Wanless Craig, and I co-own Artech Studios with my husband and sister, Tory Craig. And our studio is in kind of nowhere between Haliburton and Bancroft. So we have a glassblowing studio here and a gallery. And so COVID has made it challenging because we now have no staff. And for many months, we didn't have any work because no one could shop or glassblowing wasn't high on priority lists for what people wanted and needed during a pandemic. Trade shows are canceled, stores are closed. So that's been a bit of a challenge, but we have been able to kind of shift things, do more custom work, commissions, and we have kind of like a bit of a homesteading going on here with chickens and ducks and bees. And so we just invested more time into that. And our daughter was home, so we were able to kind of bring that all together.
Thank you for doing that. And it is a big change for many businesses. I'm going around my screen. So John, you are up next. I'd love to welcome John Kiru, who's the Executive Director of TABIA. TABIA is based in Toronto. I can see John's wearing his home team t-shirt right now. And TABIA, for those who don't know, is the Toronto Association of Business Improvement Areas. So John, tell us a little bit more about you, about TABIA, and maybe what are some of the impacts you've seen, clearly from COVID, but just what has 2020 brought?
Thank you, Sarah. John Kiru, indeed, Executive Director of TABIA. TABIA is an umbrella organization of the 84 business improvement areas in the city of Toronto, a collective membership of some 73,000 businesses. And as well as some property owners, because both businesses and property owners are members within the BIA network. I'm a planner by trade, and urban revitalization has been certainly the area that I've been focusing since graduating from planning school. And as my wife and kids remind me, I've been in the BIA world and the small business world since around the time the earth started to cool. So that's how far I go in this sector. Certainly built a couple of the BIAs that are out there right now, and I've also spent some time on the political floor as an executive assistant to councillors in the City of Toronto. So collectively, that's positioned me quite well to be able to advocate, and that is, in fact, the result of COVID. The amount of advocacy, the pushing for programs to assist small businesses, connecting those dots and getting things out there, such as the cafe TO program with the BIAs to allow restaurants to try to generate some revenue through the early lockdowns, and it looks like we're back to that now in Toronto specifically. So really, it's been a pivot. We still do our core functions as TABIA in terms of affinity programs, etc. But most importantly, it's the advocacy that has really stepped up. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, because it's an important element, and it certainly became significantly more important since COVID, is that I'm also the founder, and TABIA now manages and operates Digital Main Street, where we've very quickly pivoted to help small businesses, not only in Toronto, but right across the province, to get online stores and help them update their websites or any other technical stuff, because we've had to move from bricks and mortar to bricks and clicks.
Okay, John, we are definitely going to come back to that, but I want to also let Andrea Barrett introduce herself. Andrea is a nutritionist, but she also is the president of the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce. So she's a community builder, both at the micro level in terms of keeping us healthy, but also clearly at a macro level. Andrea, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've seen during COVID.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you for inviting me on. My name is Andria Barrett. I'm the president of the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce. We're a national organization with members and chapters right across the country. So our whole purpose of being is to encourage entrepreneurship in the Black community. Wide range of ages. We have a junior chamber, free for anyone 25 and under. And we also respect and reach out to our seniors in our community. We draw on them for their wisdom and their mentorship and their expertise. As no surprise to anyone else, the pandemic has devastated small businesses, and it's been painful to see the businesses in your own community literally have to shut up, lock their doors, they're closed. What we do, I can echo exactly what John is saying. It is 24/7 advocacy around here. We advocate on all three levels of the government, municipal, provincial, and federal. We're asking for anything we can to do to help these business owners survive during this current climate and make sure that they're able to thrive in the recovery stage afterwards. So it's been busy. What our business owners are looking for is support, help, and sometimes just someone to talk to. So they say with every challenge, there can be an opportunity. So we try to uncover and find all the opportunities we can to support our members.
That is the perfect jumping off point for where I'm going to go next. So as well as being the CEO of Nextdoor, I started a nonprofit called Ladies Who Launch probably about 6 years ago. We did an event in Toronto, actually, I think last year, with the inimitable Joanna Griffith, who is is the founder of Nix, for those of you who don't know that brand, amazing female founder. So one of the questions I've been asking, as I've spent time with small businesses in the past 6 to 9 months now during COVID, is talk a little bit about some of the top tips that you've done to survive and maybe even thrive. And maybe we could start there. And one thing that really sprung to mind for me in interviewing an amazing woman out of St. Louis in the United States, Tashora Jones, who's actually the treasurer of St. Louis, is she said, have your bail ready, which sounds ominous. I was like, what do you mean by your bail? She's like, a quick mnemonic for your banker, your accountant, your insurance person, and your lawyer. And don't run away from them, run to them. Go talk to people. Andrea, it was kind of what you were saying there, that sometimes you just need to pick up the phone and recognize that everybody's in this with you. You're not the only one going through this. So Andrea, maybe you could just continue with some of the top things that you've seen either at the chamber level or even down at the business level. What have people done to survive? And then maybe even take it one step further. Who have you seen thrive, and what is it that they've done to kind of hit the thrive button?
Okay, good questions. So a couple of tips. So I love the mnemonic you just shared. So two things that stand out to me that are important. One, reaching out, not necessarily as a business owner, but as a person who runs a business. We know that the pandemic is going to affect us physically, and it's also affecting us mentally. So reaching out and being a part of a network, that's the power of chambers and the power of boards of trades, where you can pick up the phone and call someone just to share ideas, just to vent, just to ask if they have supplies or staff that you can share. So that is important. We do wellness checks, so to speak, with some of our members. So we will go into different cities just to say hello. Sometimes, of course, we're wearing our masks, we're socially distanced, but just so you know, we're here and we see you and we're here to help. We'll do curbside pickup. If it's a restaurant, we do our best to support everyone that we can. Some tips that will help people survive and thrive is, first and foremost, having an open mind. You may have to make changes to your existing business model. So we have to recognize that what we thought was normal or the old normal may never come back. So it's important to embrace new technology, embrace new ways of doing things. So if you are bricks and mortar and this is all new to you, don't try to wait out the pandemic. You need to transform now. You need to get a website. You need to make sure you have an email account. You need to be able to show and be in a position where you can transition. So that is the first thing. That's the first tip I tell everyone. Don't wait for the pandemic to be over. Be nimble, be agile, and be open-minded to doing business a new way. And the second tip I have is to ask for help and to partner. If you're in a restaurant and there's a caterer that is, in another city or next door, partner, work together. You see what you can do, partner with an event planner, do something online. So this is the time to collaborate with people either in your same sector or in other sectors. Don't see them as competition. We are all in this together and we will only get out of this together.
Yeah, it's great words. And I'm going to transition to John and then to Jen, because I want to kind of go from the macro down to a micro business. And then I love that asking to help and partner and thinking about your supply chain. My local restaurant here started to sell groceries on behalf of the farmers that they often source their produce from to make their amazing restaurant food. But it was a way to try to keep that supply chain in business. And neighbors kind of stepped up and said, I don't normally buy my groceries from the restaurant, but I'm in if it helps local. John, talk about the digital Main Street. So specifically, what is it and how can a local business get involved with it? Because I love this idea.
For sure. Ultimately, it was a pivot way back in 2014, well before the pandemic. Effectively, the Amazons and the likes, Alibabas, et cetera, that was out there, and the consumer shift really to online shopping. And it became very obvious in 2014 that we needed to help our local small businesses to support it, that in time, brick and mortar was going to see significantly more challenges. So we needed to move to sort of a bricks and clicks opportunity. The importance of main streets and the brick and mortar is undeniable. That builds communities, not only in the commercial side of things, but everything else. So at that time, we really took a leap of faith. Number of partners jumped on board, the largest of which was the City of Toronto, and we built a platform which today is Digital Main Street. And effectively, at that time, many small businesses were seeing people knocking on their door trying to sell them the best things since sliced bread when it came to the digital world, whether it was loyalty cards or anything like that. And really, the small business people, thinking that was the way to go, ended up grabbing any number of these opportunities, but soon realized that they were either not able to upload them, they weren't able to maneuver through them to get the best benefit, etc. So we developed and launched Digital Main Street in 2016 in Toronto, had some great uptake. Small businesses were benefiting almost instantly when they, updated their website, as simple as that, because we'd ask them, do you have a website? And they basically said, oh yeah, but you might as well have blown the dust off of it because it was the nephew 3 years ago that had built it and hadn't been updated or anything along those lines. So bottom line is, What Digital Main Street is an opportunity to educate Main Street small business retailers on being savvy consumers in the digital world. And the trick really is not just putting them on, sending them a memory stick to upload or uploading this stuff. We have what we call digital service squads, where there is a one-on-one mentoring. Young kids that have come out of school that we've hired right now through the program we're in. There's hundreds of those across the province that literally met with each and every business to help them transition into the digital world. Now we're doing it online, but the bottom line is that we've helped thousands of people, first and foremost, become savvy consumers in the digital world, but also help them build. And that's what COVID sort of prompted. Within 2 weeks, you too can have a digital store that you manage, that you will know how to operate and transition into. And yet, we've got a number of partners from Google who automatically upload these businesses so that they're easy to find. It's a part of the partnership we have. We've got Shopify, as you've noted, they're providing tutorials and learning out there. And just yesterday, Square came on board, and they too are going to be partners with us, where they will provide training sessions and workshops for small business people on how to be more effective on Digital Main Street. So if you haven't, digitalmainstreet.ca, Google Shop Here or Digital Main Street. And there is, in fact, grants. The governments, both the feds and the province, have invested money in this program to provide the training for businesses. But after you've trained yourself and you've developed a plan, really a digital plan of where you want to go, there's up to $2,500 available to you as an outright grant through the sponsorship in partnership with FedDev and the province to move you into that next step and become a savvy digital participant.
Perfect. Yeah, great names there. Square, clearly near and dear to my heart, since I spent 7 years of my life helping build that company with an amazing, amazing team, and fully puts small businesses front and center. So delighted to hear you're working with them. And I'm going to definitely put a pitch in for Nextdoor at some point too, because we're going to talk about how neighbors can help you. But Jenn, let's go to you. So you're actually doing this every single day. You run a small business. What's it been like? And are some of these ideas resonating? Are you doing them? What's working? What's not working?
Yeah, so we have a website, but this has switched. I guess during the year, most of our customers go to retail stores that we sell to or trade shows. So with this shift, we did more advertising so people could buy direct from us when our stores were closed. And then when the stores were open that we were selling to them, we offer like free shipping or something to kind of offset some of the costs that they've incurred from being closed for so long. We've helped some people in the area, get set up with Square and who haven't had a website before, with shifting their businesses. If they had a catering company or like a restaurant, that then they switched to being takeout, or like the local brewery, like you can do drop off, like pick up there. So kind of shifting that, because there's not I think up in this area, Digital Main Street is great, but it's not really, when you go to small communities, it's very much one-on-one, right? You're going there to visit people in person. So it's been a bit challenging in small communities with COVID. So just shifting how you deal with the public. So that's, we have a local studio tour, for example, and that has been only less than half of the artists participated. And with that, we were actually quite busy, but how it shifted people coming to see the artists and meet them and buy direct from them. So just, there's been a lot of shift in small communities for sure. I mean, I actually have not left my community in 7 months because of, where do I go? What do I do? So it's been interesting just seeing really what's happening here locally. Yeah,
it's so true. I mean, I said at the beginning, I miss travel. On the other hand, it's, you always find the bright spot in the way. I've been in my local community now for 7 months. So I've I've spent a lot of time talking to local businesses that normally I'd be, all over the world doing. So I guess there's some shiny bright side in there somewhere. You are talking about the fact that not everything can just go to online, and often it's your local neighbors that really show up to support. How have you reached out to them? Like, how have you gotten people to come do something like a local studio tour?
Well, it's a lot. This year we decided to do a lot more advertising locally. So majority of what we sell tends to go from our community because we travel across Canada into the States. So we don't do as much here, even though we buy products here and we are here we have our shop open. It's only open 2 months of the year. So this year has been different. We advertise locally in the local papers, which has been something we've done for a while. We got local radio ads. We offered pickup. Again, we're not open all the time, but we live at where we work. So we offer people to come here if you're close. Like I said, we have chickens. So we offer, we had a lot of people who, with kids home, we offered if they wanted to come here and their kids wanted to, feed the chickens while their parents kind of got out and talked to someone besides, their kids, then we can kind of offer like a little tour. We were kind of doing these ad hoc things kind of just for something to do, because if I know, like with my siblings, with their young kids, everybody's itching to do something. So just come pick up some eggs, feed a chicken, kind of, pick up some local artwork. So just for kind of shifting to, really meet our neighbors, like just be a bit more open and a bit more, I don't know, it seems so silly, but a bit more human, right? Get to know people a bit more.
Yeah, that was exactly the word I was going to say, being more human. And I think in our conversations, as businesses, sometimes we feel like we need to have this veneer on of being very professional about everything. And in reality, I think some of the best outreach, best marketing is very human, feels very neighborly. Andrea, maybe you can talk about, how you see local businesses impacting their community, and then equally, how are you talking to the businesses, particularly in the Black community, about how to really engage their neighbors, the people around them, to help them grow their businesses, help them survive right now?
So in my perspective, the local businesses are the heartbeat of the community. So I think that's where your senior parents go to have coffee, or that's where your aunties meet up once a week to, hang out and drink tea, or your local business supports the dance studio, or supports the soccer team, or supports the seniors baseball club. Important. Without those businesses, we lose all of the support for the community activity, and then we lose like the social aspect. Like when the grandmothers are all getting together having tea, that's where they go once a week to hang out and chat and socialize and connect. When we lose that cafe, or we lose that, or the mall is closed, they can't do their mall walking program, you lose that social aspect of it and that sense of community, and everyone is shut in. So I think that is devastating. So it's so important in my perspective, that we do everything we can to keep these small businesses, to keep the micro businesses alive, up and running, because they're integral to the energy and the vitality of the community. In the summer, some farmers markets were closed, and that's where people come out once a week and pick the peppers and touch the broccoli and the rapini, and they see everyone, they eat the baked goods. That is so important, and an intangible part of being a local business in a community that you can't even put a price on. So, we do a lot of advocacy, and we do everything we can to make the point known and make it clear that we must do whatever we can to save local businesses. We know that when the shutdown happened, businesses, it affected everyone, big and small, but some sectors were impacted more than others. We need to do whatever we can to help those small businesses in our community, in those sectors, survive. So when it comes to our chamber members in their respective communities across Canada, we just urge a lot of outreach. We urge them, if they're not already doing social media or have a website or doing email marketing, to reach out. Email, keep everyone aware of what's going on. A lot of social media posts. Let people know you're open. Let people see the human side to your business. you know, here's my puppy, this is my family, this is how we're coping, this is what we're doing, this is how much toilet paper we have, you know, stocked up someplace, just to keep it social, and you want to be top of mind when it comes to your consumers.
Yeah, there's so much good in there that you're talking about. To me, that's what I see with local businesses too. Yes, they're commercial entities, right? They're there to also make profit and feed their children, but they do fulfill a very vital role. Often, you know, particularly around topics like loneliness, it's where people who are stuck at home, like traditionally we've thought more about, say, the elderly, or maybe it's someone who's like, I remember when I had my first child, I felt like I'd been imprisoned. I'm like, oh my God, I'm just stuck at home with this little thing. And just getting out and being able to go to the local cafe and sit down. And actually, as we see our high streets get devastated, it's taking away just natural places for people to go to seek some community and just some interaction with another human being. John, talk to me about how TABIA is thinking about that. So how does TABIA not just help build something like the digital high street, but how do you then get customers, neighbors to actually come out and shop there? How do you get that message out? And do you do it in an aggregated way from TABIA, or do you help businesses do it at a micro level, which then, you know, becomes macro and aggregated?
Yeah, so you know, we all know, we've all identified through our chats how Main Street goes, so goes the rest of the neighborhood. I think we can agree that, you know, a vibrant Main Street means a vibrant and residential community and interaction and social and the church life and everything else that sort of spills out onto Main Street. And when you have a Main Street that is empty, stores are empty, newspapers in the window, etc., it's perceived as, you know, crime-based and graffiti and all that sort of stuff. So the lifeblood really of a community truly is the commercial sector and the businesses that make that up. And keeping them vibrant is critical. As an umbrella organization, we don't specifically go out and market. That is the role of the independent individual BIA. Really, one of the major roles of a BIA is to promote, beautify, and enhance the commercial area that they serve. You know, the BIA's role is to put people on the street. It's still up to each and every individual business person to bring those people into their shop and sell them or provide them with the service that they so well do. With that said, TABIA has a number of opportunities, including marketing opportunities with you know, the TTC and subway posters and third-party posters and radio ads, etc., where we collectively buy those en masse to get a better discounted rate and make those available to the BIAs, who then make them available to the individual businesses. So the marketing component out there truly does become one of the things that the BIA itself provides and does on behalf of the members themselves. Some of the successes out there, you know, many of you folks will know. Taste of the Danforth on a weekend, the restaurants and stores spill out onto the roads, and you know, over three days, some of those businesses in the past generated 25, 30, 35% of their yearly income in that one weekend. They were paying rents into the next year with what was generated through that. So those are the roles of the BIAs, and to that end, that's what BIAs are starting to do. They are the go-to folks, the people, as Andrea indicated, that businesses can talk to, can get advice from, etc. So they are currently very active in helping facilitate the Cafe TO to animate the streets, to keep people coming out, doing marketing campaigns. So really, it does come down to the individual BIAs working closely with the business people, because really they are the ones that truly know what the pulse of that neighborhood, what it needs as a local business community, even more so than some of the residents, not during COVID, but people would get up in the morning, go off to work, spend 10, 12 hours between commute and working, and simply come home and do that. Whereas business people spend 10, 12, 16 hours a day in that neighborhood, and they truly are the feet on the street, and they have the pulse of the neighborhood. So the business community is absolutely an integral part, not only traditionally of what happens, but significantly more during COVID, because we are restricting ourselves almost as a part of our way of dealing with COVID to our own immediate neighborhood. We're taking that walk to Main Street to pick up some of those essentials. As you've said, many of our businesses have pivoted to provide locals with the stuff they need, that they no longer have to get in the car and go to the mall. So we are sort of, I don't want to say cocooning, but we are restricting our own neighborhoods. And ultimately, we're almost going back to what traditional main streets were many centuries ago. It was those gathering places that we talked about. It was those places to pick up the essentials and knowing thy neighbor and everything that comes with it. So, you know, at the same time, we've had to pivot. So, you know, we serve local, no question about it, but we should be able to sell global now with the technology that's out there. So I liken a small business or a BIA like a good meal that we just had at Thanksgiving. The turkey, the potatoes, and the vegetables are our local people that we serve. Where the gravy comes in is when you've expanded up beyond that 3, 4, 5 kilometer neighborhood. So that's where the gravy comes in the profit. That's where the gravy comes in tourists coming in, etc. So we've, for a short time, been able to pivot our gravy from tourists and visitors outside of our neighborhood to digitally selling online and moving that extra out there.
Yeah, wow, that's a good analogy. Gravy's my favorite part too. There's so much in there. I see this too. My local BIA is actually right now trying to get everyone to dress up for when they come to eat outdoors on Halloween around that time, because we can still eat outdoors, socially distanced, clearly wearing masks until our food arrives. So I do think that there's a lot the BIA can do. In fact, I see those posts through my local Nextdoor. Our local BIA lead puts them on Nextdoor, and that's how she gets her message out. There's something else in there too around the marketing piece, where what we've seen on Nextdoor is businesses can post, and when they post less in a commercial way, but more in a community building way, those are the posts that get massive engagement. So, you know, say, I live on the West Coast in California, so fire danger is very high on all of our minds at the moment. So the local landscape gardener who doesn't just say, hey, you know, $50 to mow your lawn, but instead says, I'd love to come consult with you about how to have the best fireproofing around your house through your planting. Because then they're showing their expertise, but they're showing their care and the fact they have local knowledge, right? That would not be as relevant if I posted it into your Toronto neighborhood, for example. I'm going to stay, John, just for a moment, because I did want to talk about what is government doing for local businesses. And I think would love to understand at a federal, provincial, municipal, and even local level, what has kind of hit your radar screen that the businesses listening right now should know about. And I think you already talked about the grant program that you all have, that I think $2,500 is what you said. But is there anything particular that you would counsel a small business to look out for, or a good site or a good organization to make sure they're checking in with for help?
Sure. Look, all 3 levels of government have done what they can within their financial capacity. The local governments in Canada specifically are creatures of the province. So a lot of that money comes down from the province, and the feds really are the only ones that could print money. And quite frankly, right now, print the money, because you're not saving an economy. There isn't an economy to save right now. That's the bottom line. So you've got to invest in keeping businesses in business, and they have done that. The feds have done what they've done from April, and they will continue to do that. Wage subsidies for those people that are able to keep some of their staff on, rent assistance that's coming back again with a modified version, because the first one needed some tinkering. So the ability for them to pivot and understand that this is not the time to be saving money, cutting things, etc. If we want to rebuild our economy, we have to have the foundation of that. Small businesses are the largest employer in this country. Well, and we're talking ridiculous numbers of almost 90% that are employed by small business out there. The province has their own jurisdiction and health issues and that sort of mandate that's out there, PPEs, making that available, rent, evictions, and prevent that. That's the mandate within the province, and they're doing it. They're pivoting. Numbers are changing every day. The municipalities are getting down to the grassroots, not festivals and events, but trying to engage people to come out. So active TO, moving some of the bylaws that have been in place to allow, who would have ever thought you could sit down in the middle of Bloor Street and have a coffee? It's these abilities to pivot and listen to businesses that are out there. So a message to business really is, don't be afraid to share your ideas, because quite frankly, the throne speech that happened here about 3 weeks ago, what was said over there is that I'm thinking that maybe governments have run out of ideas. They need fresh ideas, because the stuff they talked about was still a repeat of what was done previously. So to that end, collectively as businesses, we're having a hospitality summit on Monday that we facilitated with the mayor of Toronto, that will have both federal and provincial ministers on it to hear from the restaurants, the hotels, and the theaters and the like. So be active. And each one of these governments has a website where you can go to see what is available out there, and use your local BIA, reach out to them, because certainly in Toronto, we communicate with them on a weekly basis. We have a call with all our BIAs to bring them up to speed. We bring in city and federal officials to bring the BIAs up to speed so that they're in the know of what's available out there for the local small business people. That is your real conduit right now. So I would encourage small businesses to stay active, whether it's the BIA, if you have one, the Chamber of Commerce, etc. We've all pivoted to be conduits of information in addition to our advocacy. So that's what's out there. And there are many grants, whether you need PPE equipment support, whether you want to pivot and change your business, to future-proof it on what you can do, which is a part of Digital Main Street. It is all out there. And quite frankly, the BIAs are very versed of what's out there. So that would be your first point of contact.
That's great. That's great. And I'm glad to hear Mayor Tory's on it as well, because hospitality is really taking it on the chin. Jenn, have you sought government help in any way, and what's worked for you or what hasn't?
No, well, not really. No, so the way our business works, a lot of makers, I can kind of speak for the artists and makers that I know from craft shows, is that majority of our money we make in the fall. So we haven't even hit that yet. So October till 2 weeks before Christmas, we make 75% of our income. So we're kind of living on that from last year. So we're soon going to run out. So that this CERB thing and the things that were available in the summer were not necessarily things that any of us could access, but there will be need to be something for the fall, because shows and things where we make our income is not available right now. Like those festivals and things everybody loves to go to, the people who were there aren't there, and they make their money through that. Whether you're an artist, a musician, an actor, performer, that's where your income comes from. So we had applied for, I guess, TABIA, but it's been complicated. It's not some people find it really easy and some people don't. So we're one of the people who has not been an easy thing. But locally, our government, the great things living in a small town is you can access the things that John was saying a little bit. I know there's less people, so you can call them up. You might see them. You see them at the coffee shop. You know them personally. Yeah. You've gone to a dinner party with them. You've seen them at the local theater, so you know them, and if you have an issue, you can talk to them, and they're open. I find that small communities are much more open to kind of creative ideas because they know the people. We interact with everybody on a very daily basis, and they've been very open to shifting things in our community. Like our entire downtown is all the restaurants have spilled into parking spots. Yeah. So that's been really great, and just how they've been able to kind of change bylaws and shift for local businesses, which would never have happened last year. There have been so many red flags. So it's been really great that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, I want to come back to you and ask you about the holidays coming up, because for a large portion of businesses, that is when they make all their money for the year in a way. But Andrea, I don't want to leave the question about, you know, government help or whatever. What is the Chamber of Commerce? What are you telling your businesses to go to, or how do you make sure, you know, like in Jen's case where she's saying it's kind of complicated to do this application for, I think you called it CBA. How are you helping them actually get those applications in and be successful with those applications?
So when it comes to our members in advocacy, we are either literally helping them when it comes to filling out the application, directing them on websites to visit, or we're making the phone calls and speaking to the MP or the minister or the mayor or the councillor directly on their behalf, or we're connecting them with them. We had one of our members had a problem with her landlord. We reached out to the deputy mayor of the city. They spoke. They got that situation resolved. Another one of our members had a problem with some of the regulations. We connected them with their economic development department in the municipality, and they were well on their way. So just to echo what John said, we just need to ask. Our politicians are our allies, and they work for us and they work with us. We are to bring them requests and suggestions and sometimes the answers. They don't always have the answers. So it's up to us to make these suggestions, to reach out to them. I've heard many of them say, you know, just give me a call or send us an email. I sincerely believe them when they're saying that. They want us to come out of this, and they know how important businesses are to the economy. So they're open for suggestions and feedback. I also want to mention and acknowledge that the federal government in early September announced the Black Entrepreneurship Fund, which is tremendous. So this is a $221 million fund that will help with research, because we don't collect disaggregated data. We don't collect any race-based information. So we don't have a true understanding of how this impact is affecting Black-owned businesses. We know and can see what's happening in the US, and they have data that proves and validates what's happening. We don't have any of that here. So it was really encouraging to hear that the Prime Minister is allocating some funds there. The money also will support Black-led organizations, organizations like the Chamber that support Black-owned businesses. And then the third part of this fund is to give loans to Black-owned businesses. So in our community, it can be challenging accessing capital. Historically. So it's an opportunity for the businesses in our community to get a chance to level the playing field and do what they can in terms of recovery. But to be completely honest, we have felt very supported by all three levels of government, literally. People giving us their cell phone numbers. Call me if you have a question. Call me if you need some help. Call me if you're having a roadblock. So they're here to help, and they're here to support. And, you know, there's no playbook for this. They're all doing the best they can. And I'm proud of our government, all the levels, everyone, everywhere. They've done a good job. Again, as John mentioned, there's opportunity, there's funding, and there's grants. You just need to know where to look for it. So I encourage people to reach out to our website at blackchamber.ca or visit blackfemalefunders.com for information and grants and resources. PPE grants for that. Relaxing some of the rules and the bylaws. It's like, I agree with John. You can be sitting in the middle of the street eating, you know, some fettuccine and drinking a lovely glass of wine in the middle of the street in a lot of different cities. At least you could do that in the summer. But so it's nice that they've relaxed some of the rules and regulations and loosened up some of the bylaws, which demonstrates to me they want to help.
Yeah, it's definitely been my experience. I've done a bunch of work with the state of California, and I think one is they want to hear from you. I think John's saying, you know, are they out of ideas? It's not that they're out of ideas, but if they're people, and in the end, they get their best ideas often coming in from all of you. So I love that many of you on this call are actually helping streamline that information going in at a government level. You're making me think that by the end of this call, I'm going to be asking Christopher, the other Christopher who's helping us manage it, create a landing page of just great resources. I think we need to get that up for Canadian businesses coming out of this. So there's just kind of a one-stop shop. Can I stay on what's coming at us? So the holiday period. So typically, right, you would kick off more, you know, November-ish, but every major retailer already knows they need to be going already in October because it's going to be a much more elongated holiday season. Are you giving, Andrea, I'll stay with you, are you giving your members any particular advice around the holiday season? Anything, you know, that's different this year as you think about, you know, how they're going to handle it through COVID?
The two pieces of advice I would give is start now. So we're in the middle of October.
Great.
Don't, you know, typically we're going to wait a little later. Start now and entice them with, you know, some great promos and bundle things and do some partnerships. And, you know, participate everywhere. Join a host of online marketplaces. Host your own trade show virtually. We have a fantastic show in the GTA where makers come together, and it would be someplace you could visit. Just do it online. And, you know, and if you 3, 4, 15, 200, find a platform and host your events online. That way you're going to be exposed to your local area and potentially globally. So it's a great way to get rid of any excess inventory you could be sitting on and try a new way of getting information out there. So those are my two pieces of advice. Start now and do it online. A virtual marketplace, do them every week.
Yes, get to the gravy. Jenn, you've already talked about how this time of year, trade shows and so on, are really the huge part of your year. What are you seeing, and are there any good trade shows that you see moving online that you would tell any business listening to make sure they're going to check out?
Well, it seems everybody's doing a virtual trade show, like Andrea is mentioning. The challenge with it is, as makers, we have, you know, packed our stuff, got on an airplane, shipped things, set up a booth, done that for years and years and years. So this year, the difference is we now all have to be computer savvy, which some of us are, but every single virtual show seems to have a different platform. And they have, there's a lot of them. So that's a bit of a challenge is will we dilute the market? So a lot of them have started. Some of them are operating like a 3-day kind of thing, and then they close the site down and then they pop it back up again the next month. Some of them will be open for a month, like the one-of-a-kind show we do in Toronto has extended their normal show time, which is 10 days or 11 days, to 2 months. The challenge with a lot of these shows is going to be shipping, because shipping, we already know how hard it's been this year. We generally shut down our shipping, like tell customers we cannot guarantee like holiday delivery after, like, I want to say the 15th of December. This year, we're actually putting it out there that December 1st will be it. Anything after that, we can't guarantee. So that's a bit of a challenge with these online shows, is that they're running till December 20th. So that is going to be challenging. Also, it's a lot of shipping. Some of the shows are asking us to eat the shipping costs, so that we'll see, because without the show expenses, it might balance out. It might be more. We don't know. But if we're hiring anyone this season, we're hiring someone to help ship. That's actually, we don't. Yeah, we need other things too. But I never thought I'd have to have someone help me pack boxes. So that's where we will be. And a lot of our friends who are makers, they're finding the changing, like spending a lot of time learning like how to upload and get things going when they already have their website, but every single virtual show is a different type, and then it's not easily just like kind of picked up and moved over. So yeah, I have 4 days next week planned for one show, just sitting in front of a computer figuring that out. So it's a bit of a shift for sure this year.
Wow, that's, yeah, the shipping, the packing, all of that. If I have any top tip, what I find on Nextdoor is those are great jobs for kind of teenagers or even college students who are now stuck at home. So I see tons of requests going out on my Nextdoor asking for or offering from the kind of what we call it neighbor for hire. But that can be a great way actually to get kind of first jobs into your community too. So as the mom of 2 teenagers who's constantly trying to get them out there into the work life to realize what it's really like. We're going to run out of time. So in a really short snapshot, maybe from each of you, what's the one action you want a local business to take this week? And John, I haven't heard from you for a moment. So there's one thing you would tell a local business to go out and do right now. What would it be?
notwithstanding digital Main Street and get yourself online, and it is free in the 40,000 businesses we've served in Ontario. It hasn't cost the business 1 red cent. Building confidence, I think, is the critical thing out there. Build the confidence that when people come into your shop, that they can feel safe. There's training sessions out there that you can train your staff, that you can certify your staff that they know how to handle things, how to deal with that stuff. Put that sticker out into your window so when somebody comes into your place, they feel confident that you and your staff are looking after their interest as well. And you've been trained as best as you can be to accommodate that. You know, we've got an app, the national app here is the COVID app is a wonderful tool. That app, you can show a merchant that it's green, that you haven't been exposed to anybody over the last 10 days or 15 days with this app. That is a simple tool to build confidence, just as you can assure those people coming to your store that your staff shows you their cell phone with the app on it that says they are green as well. So I think the most critical thing moving forward for the holiday seasons for any business out there is to build confidence with their customers on a one-to-one basis, obviously, is that there is that confidence that when I come into that store, they've done everything that they can to make sure that I'm going to be safe. So that would be the one thing I would tell the stores. Look into what will build confidence within your staff and the people that come and visit you.
I love that. Build confidence. Jen, what's your one piece of advice?
I think patience. I think being patient and being kind are just like when I said before, being human, just being authentic and making sure we're going to go into a very, very busy season. I just think patience is really, really key right now.
Yeah, agreed. Andrea, what's your one piece of advice that you want everyone to do this week?
Okay, I have two, but I'm going to try to merge them together. One, I'm going to say you're not alone. Reach out to your local BIA, reach out to your Chamber of Commerce, reach out to your economic development department in your city. You're not alone. And two, just be kind and gentle with yourself, your staff, and your customers. This is new. It's difficult, it's stressful. Just be gentle and kind with yourself. Take care of your mental health.
Doesn't get much better than that. You all have been amazing. I'm going to hand it back to Christopher Doyle to finish us out. If I were giving you one piece of advice right now, or one thing I'd want you to do, I'd really echo everything I've heard here, but reach out to your neighbors. Don't forget that the people around you want to see you survive and thrive. They see you as the cornerstone of your community. So put that post out there and be creative with it. Whether it's teenagers that can help you pack and ship, or whether it's someone who could just give you maybe even a little bit of marketing advice. Neighbors love to be asked for help, and when you ask, they'll respond. So with that, Christopher, back to you.
Wow, thank you so much. What an incredible panel. I just want to do a couple of quick shout outs and thank yous again to our amazing panelists, Andrea, Jen, and John. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules. We really, really appreciate it. Just to share your insights and your expertise with us. With some comments dropped into the webinar, just saying like thank you for sharing such good advice. That actually came from Mary Catherine, so we echo that. Like lots of great feedback. Thank you. And to those that asked questions in advance, we had a lot of questions, some more detailed questions for our panelists. We are going to do a blog post, so we'll send that around on email so everyone can see it, and you'll see some more detailed answers there. And thank you to Sarah Friar for moderating such an amazing discussion. And a call out for everyone, if you haven't done so already, to visit nextdoor.ca and download the app to connect with your neighborhood, either as a member or as a business. And finally, thank you so much to Square Canada for making this series possible at all. So watch your inbox for the next invite to our next conversation, which is called Small Businesses with Mighty Hearts. And that's produced with our partners, Canadian Women's Chamber of Commerce. And that's happening on Tuesday, October 20th at noon Eastern Time. Thank you so much. Take care. And remember, of course, to support local. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.